Well, hello and welcome. I'm Miss Heard with Miss Heard Song Lyrics Podcast. We're in Season 6, Episode 273. The Miss Heard song lyric is, I want a piece of David. And the actual correct lyrics is, I want to be sedated. If you haven't figured it out, it's the Ramones, first ever. So let's talk about it. It's not about getting a piece of David, whatever that means. David's Michelangelo. There's lots of pieces there. But it's their iconic song. So let's start. I Want to Be Sedated is a song by American punk rock band Ramones, originally released on the band's fourth studio album back in 1978 called Road to Ruin in September 1978, and the B-side of the UK single She's the One, released on September 21st, 1978. So, wow, many years ago. This song was later released as a single in the Netherlands in 1979, so a year later, and in the U.S. in 1980 by RSO Records from the Times Square soundtrack album. It has still since remained one of the band's best-known songs, I would agree. So a little bit more about what the song's about. So it was actually written by Joey Ramone. In an interview about the song, he explains the chorus. He says, "It's a road song. I wrote it in 1977 through to 78. Well, Danny Fields was our first manager, and he would work us to death. We would be on the road 360 days a year, and we went over to England, and we were there at Christmas time. And in Christmas time, London shuts down. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Here we are in London for the first time in our lives, and me and Dee Dee Ramone were sharing a room in the hotel, and we're watching the Guns of Navarone. So there's nothing to do. I mean, here we are in London finally, and this is what we're doing, watching American movies in a hotel room." And then another thing I found from songfacts.com regarding the chorus, Ramone says, he sings about nothing to do, nowhere to go. That, of course, is where he's talking about where he's stuck in that hotel room. And they're in London for the first time, and there's nothing to do because everything shuts down. So thought that was interesting. Again, write what you know, and that's what he was experiencing at that time. So who are the Ramones? Well, they're an American punk rock band formed in New York City, a neighborhood called Forest Hills, Queens in 1974. So shout out to those that are listening from Forest Hills, Queens. They are known for helping establish the punk movement in the United States and everywhere else. And Ramones are often cited as the first true punk rock band. That's a pretty big moniker attached to it. Although they never received significant commercial success, the band is seen today as highly influential in the punk culture. Did you know that all the members of Ramones, they adopted pseudonyms ending with the surname Ramone? They're not biologically related. And what inspired them was, get this, Paul McCartney from the Beatles, who would check into hotels under the alias Paul Ramone. So they just used Ramone as their last name and then had different first names for them. So I thought that was interesting. The Ramones performed 2,263 concerts, touring virtually nonstop for 22 years, and released 14 studio albums. In 1996, as a tour as part of the Lollapalooza Music Festival, they played a farewell concert in LA and disbanded. So whoever was there in that 1996 iconic Lollapalooza Festival, you might have seen them do their farewell. And then sadly, back in 2014, so 10 years ago today, essentially, all 4 of the band's original members have died. Lead singer Joey Ramone was born from 1951 to 2001, died then. Bassist Dee Dee Ramone, 1951, passed away a year later in 2002. Guitarist Johnny Ramone, 1948, and died in 2004. And then 10 years later, from Johnny Ramone's death, drummer Tommy Ramone, who was born in 1949, died in 2014. The Ramones have experienced, of course, a few lineup changes, with Joey and Johnny as the only constant members. Tommy left the band in 1978 to pursue a career in record production and was replaced by Marky Ramone, who himself was replaced by Richie Ramone in 1983. And then following Richie's departure in 1987 and a brief stint with Elvis Ramone, Marky rejoined the band, and Dee Dee departed 2 years later. From 1989 to their breakup in 1986, the Ramones consisted of Joey, Johnny, Marky, and bassist CJ Ramone. So let's look at the recognition of what they've built through the years. So they were ranked number 26 in Rolling Stone magazine's 2004 list of the 100 greatest artists of all time, and number 17 in VH1's 2012 television series 100 Greatest Artists of Hard Rock. In 2002, the Ramones were ranked the second greatest band of all time by Spin, trailing only to the Beatles. And then on March 18, 2002, the original 4 members and Tommy's replacement on drums, Marky Ramone, were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was their first year of eligibility. I've talked about this in previous shows on this podcast, that there are some bands that are still waiting 20, 30 years. And of course, they're one of the few, the Ramones, to get in on their first year of eligibility. And then in 2011, the band was awarded a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. So sad that they're all gone, but they're not forgotten. Let's talk about the brand. They're very, very, very distinct brand. So the Ramones' art and visual imagery complemented the themes of their music and their performance. The members adopted a uniform look of long black hair. I'm assuming some are not real black. They probably had to dye it black. Black leather jackets, t-shirts, torn jeans, and sneakers, which we wear now in this year of 2024. This fashion emphasized minimalism, a powerful influence on the New York punk scene of the 70s, and reflected the band's short, simple songs. Tommy Ramone recalled that musically and visually, quote-unquote, we were influenced by comic books, movies, and the Andy Warhol scene and avant-garde films. I was a big Mad Magazine fan myself. Now the logo, too, I didn't realize this. It's actually based on the seal of the President of the United States. When you look at it, look it up, look at Ramones' logo. It is from the President of the United States seal. The band's logo was created by a New York City artist by the name of Arturo Vega, with guidance from the Ramones. He's a longtime friend and had allowed Joey and Dee Dee to move into his loft. He produced the band's t-shirts, their main source of income, basing most of the images on which appeared on the black sleeve of the Ramones' first album. He was inspired to create the band's logo after a trip to Washington, D.C. There you go. Quote unquote, it says, I saw them as the ultimate all-American band. To me, they reflected the American character in general. An almost childish, innocent aggression. I thought the great seal of the President of the United States would be perfect for the Ramones, with the eagle holding arrows to symbolize strength and the aggression that would be used against whoever dares to attack us, and an olive branch offered to those who want to be friendly. But we decided to change it up a little bit. Instead of the olive branch, we had an apple tree branch, since Ramones were American as apple pie, and since Johnny was such a baseball fanatic, we had the eagle hold a baseball bat instead of the great seal's arrows. So look into that. I didn't realize that. The scroll in the eagle's beak originally said, look out below, but this was soon changed to hey ho, let's go, and the opening lyrics of the band's first single, Blitzkrieg Bop. The arrowheads on the shield came from a design on a polyester shirt Vega had bought Ramones, was spelled out in block letters, and above the logo using plastic stick-on letters. And then when the presidential emblem read, seal of the President of the United States, clockwise in the border around the eagle, Vega placed the pseudonyms of the band's members. So Johnny, Joey, Dee Dee, and Tommy. And over the years, the names in the bird would change as the band's lineup fluctuated. So pretty interesting. Excuse me. It says here, there's a quote, it's the American presidential seal. Anyone can use it, said Marky Ramone of the logo's ubiquity. We share the royalties on the t-shirt and on the merchandise. A lot of the kids wearing that shirt might not even heard of the Ramones music. I guess if you have the shirt, your curiosity might bring you to buy the music. Whatever, it's a strange phenomenon. So back to the song. It was featured in the official teaser trailer of the 2019 Spider-Man Far From Home, after Ramones' song Blitzkrieg Bop was promptly featured in the film's 2017 predecessor, Spider-Man Homecoming. And it was also featured in an episode of The Magicians, I need to look into this, which aired on March 25th, 2020, sung by most of the cast during a heist operation in a musical episode. And then at 12 a.m. on December 31st, 2020, an internet meme began trending on social media that said it was 24 hours to go. This is reference to the song's opening lyric, 24 hours to go. I want to be sedated. So that's where that meme came. So have you seen the music video? It's actually iconic in itself. It was actually uploaded on YouTube back on September 12th, 2018. So it's just 6 years ago, but it's at a whopping 31.4 million views. The music video itself was directed by Bill Fishman and was released in September 1988. So you're like, wait a minute, didn't the song come out in 78? You're right. It took about 10 years after the song was originally released to promote the compilation album called Ramones Mania. So they said, let's do a video. I'm glad they did. This iconic video features the Ramones sitting at a table. So left to right, it's Johnny, Joey, Marky, and Dee Dee. They're nonchalantly reading and eating generic cornflakes. It actually says just cornflakes on the box, while the background hallway erupts into a venue. Tons of manic movement. You see nuns, acrobats, excuse me, ballerinas, monsters, cheerleaders, clowns, doctors, fetish nurses, smoking schoolgirls. And what they did is the film was intentionally sped up to show the excitement of the background while the band's actions are in regular motion. So this was achieved by a very genius, by having the band members move very slowly while the crowd behind them moved normally, and then they sped up the film. So I'm like looking at this again. I'm like, wow, they had to move really slow to make it look like when they sped it up, it was normal speed and everyone else was manic in the back. A big did you know from that is one of the video's characters, the bride, is a young Courtney Love there. So I didn't know that. So it's something to put in your pocket. And last but not least, a still from the video was featured on the liner notes of the band's 1989 album Brain Drain, though the song itself does not appear on the album. So they have the still from the video in the liner notes, but song not in the album. So I thought that was interesting. But, you know, they're so clever in the ways they do it. So now you know it's not about, I want a piece of David. Maybe they had a beef with a David guy. You know, I never know. It's I Want to Be Sedated. And it's a great video if you haven't seen it. Now I know I'm going to keep looking out for a young Courtney Love in there as the bride. If you have any great suggestions like this misheard song lyric, just send it to any of our social media sites at Facebook, Instagram, or you can just send me an email at misheard, that's MISSHEARD songs @gmail.com. Till then, keep singing the songs wrong. Bye.